Anoka Takamiya is an average high school student. He believes he will never get a girlfriend because he is neither handsome nor rich. A beautiful girl named Ayaka Kaguri is also in his class. The entire class, both boys and girls, are her fans. Despite being rich, Kaguri takes the same bus as Anoka to school. She also sits beside him in class. However, despite their closeness, they never talk. Their lives are completely different. Kaguri is always surrounded by her fan club, while no one even notices Anoka's existence. One day, Anoka drops his eraser and Kaguri picks it up for him. But something bad is about to happen to him, though he has no idea. Later, Kaguri's fan club corners him, beats him up, and warns him never to interact with her again. Afterward, the teacher calls Anoka to her office and gives him a task to deliver some papers to the classroom. While walking down the hallway, one of Kaguri's fangirls sneaks up behind him and takes all the papers, ensuring he stays away from her. That day, Kaguri is also assigned cleaning duties, but the fan club treats Anoka like a side character. Later, while taking the trash outside, he notices a bunny with a note inside the bin. It says, "Today's weather is great, but don't go outside, some school buildings might fall." He thinks it's nonsense. However, when he looks up, a school building is actually collapsing above him. He is sure he is done for. But suddenly, he opens his eyes and finds himself being carried midair by Kaguri, who is now wearing a witch's cloak. Anoka is still clueless about what is happening. Kaguri tells him to calm down. Suddenly, another girl sends 2 mechanical bunnies armed with swords to eliminate them. As the bunnies attack, Kaguri throws Anoka into the air and blasts them with fire magic. Before he can fall, she catches him. Anoka thinks this is the best dream he has ever had. However, the bunnies get up again and resume their assault. Kaguri strikes them with another fireball, but they remain unaffected. Realizing magic won't work, she decides to fight in close combat. She tells Anoka to stay close to her. Suddenly, Anoka notices someone waving at him and decides to check. As he approaches, he gets trapped inside an army of mechanical bunnies. Feeling hopeless, he watches as the bunnies prepare to execute him. He wonders if dying in the dream will wake him up. Just as a bunny is about to strike him with an axe, Kaguri blasts every single one from the inside, saving him. Anoka still believes it's a dream. He tells Kaguri she looks as beautiful as ever in it and admits that in reality he would never get this close to her. Kaguri corrects him, saying it's not a dream and that it's her duty to protect him because he is her prince. Anoka is confused. He asks why she is protecting him despite him not listening to her, going after the waving girl and even causing her hair to catch fire. As they talk, another mechanical bunny with a massive hammer charges at them. Anoka tries to act brave and confront it, but the bunny strikes him and sends him flying. Anoka passes out from the impact. Kaguri picks him up, hugs him, and apologizes for letting her guard down. Angry at what happened, she unleashes her ultimate fire spell, destroying every remaining bunny in a massive explosion. Later, Anoka wakes up and finds himself in Kaguri's private room at school with Kaguri sitting in front of him. She tells him that everything that happened was real, not a dream. However, she will explain everything later. For now, it's time to go home. As they walk home together, Kaguri tells him that for now all he needs to know is that he is her master and her duty is to protect him. Anoka silently follows her, still confused about everything. For a few days things go smoothly. However, during this time, Anoka and Kaguri start coming to school on the same bus, sitting side by side. At school, they are always together. Seeing this, Kaguri's fan club grows furious. Anoka realizes that if this continues, the fan club will eventually come after him. To avoid trouble, he pretends to have a stomachache and leaves the classroom, heading toward the washroom. But on the way, some hardcore fans catch him. They warn him to stay away from Kaguri and attempt to assault him. Just then, Kaguri arrives and saves him. She warns them that if anyone dares to hurt Anoka, it will be their doomsday. Later, in the launch time, Kaguri and Anoka prepare for their launch, but Kaguri's fans surrounded them. Kaguri tells Anoka she made these food for him and tries to feed him by her hand. But Anoka's anxiety in on the peak, so he refuses and go away from there. But Anoka feels bad for his behavior. He is walking and thinking he did wrong and should apologize to Kaguri. Eventually, he come to the place where the building was crushed. But he is surprised to see that there is no sign of any disaster. Then a girl tells him that was just an illusion, magic. By talking, he come closer. He makes sure Anoka doesn't have any kind of special power. Then she reveals her true form. She is a tower witch. Her name is Tanpopo Kuraishi. She came here to kidnap him. Kaguri arrives just in time to save Anoka. However, this time Tanpopo summons a massive army of mechanical bunnies all armed with swords and spears. Surrounding them, Tanpopo gives the order to attack. As the bunnies charge, Anoka finds himself on the ground watching in shock as Kaguri takes every sword and spear hit with her own body to protect him. Seeing her in such a brutal state, he feels terrible and thinks about calling an ambulance. But Kaguri tells him there's no need, she is made of fire, so these attacks cannot cause lethal damage to her. Anoka, overwhelmed with guilt, apologizes for his foolishness and asks for forgiveness. Kaguri simply smiles and says, "Just don't run away from lunch next time, that will be enough." Then she tells Anoka to close his eyes. The moment he does, she unleashes a massive flame, burning down every single bunny. As Kaguri and Anoka start to leave, Tanpopo tries to stop them. However, Kaguri counters with a powerful explosion. At the last moment, Tanpopo manages to escape using one of her bunnies. When Anoka opens his eyes, he is surprised to see that Kaguri is completely unharmed and the area around him remains unchanged as if nothing had happened. Later, they walk home together. The next day at school, Kaguri is shocked to see 5 new students join their class. They are Tanpopo and her partners. Days pass and Anoka keeps wondering why he was attacked and why they want to eliminate him. Eventually, he decides it's time to ask Kaguri for answers. However, today Kaguri is not on the bus with him. Anoka arrives at school, puts his belongings in his locker, and goes looking for her. When he steps into the classroom, he finds something he was completely unprepared for. Kaguri is torturing the 5 new students, tying them to metal rods and suspending them over flames. To his horror, he notices that the classroom sign has changed to torture room. Shocked, he asks Kaguri what is happening and how he even got here. Kaguri calmly explains that she has a spell placed on him, allowing him to enter her domain without any trouble. She then tells him that she is simply performing a witch hunt ritual to eliminating all threats from his life. Kaguri firmly states that she must eliminate them or they will become an even bigger threat in the future. However, Anoka doesn't want them to be eliminated like this. He feels it would be too cruel, so he begs Kaguri to stop. Kaguri replies that she has no other choice, this is the only way. Anoka insists at the very least that she should untie their mouths since they might have something to say. Kaguri sighs and reveals that these witches should have already been eliminated, but one of their partners escaped. She is torturing them so that their missing partner will come to rescue them, giving Kaguri the chance to eliminate them all at once. Still, she listens to Anoka and unties Tanpopo's mouth. Anoka immediately asks, "Why are you after me? Why do you want to eliminate me?" Hearing this, Tanpopo smirks. She realizes that Kaguri hasn't told him anything. Amused, she teases him, "Maybe Kaguri likes you. That's why she always comes to save you." Anoka, unfazed, insists, "Stop joking. Tell me the real reason." Tanpopo grins and finally says, "I want the white stuff inside your body." Anoka goes completely blank. Everyone else in the room also freezes in embarrassment. Anoka stammers, trying to process what she just said. Tanpopo quickly clarifies, "Cut the nonsense. One of my partners is still out there and she'll be coming to rescue us soon." Suddenly, they all notice something black goo starts dripping from the ceiling. Then the missing witch emerges from it. She instantly freezes Kaguri and unties all of her teammates. Then, before anyone can react, she grabs Anoka and escapes through the floor, melting it into goo beneath them. Kaguri, trapped in ice, is unable to do anything. The witches land on the bottom floor, where the new witch grins, savoring her victory. She has finally kidnapped Anoka. Meanwhile, the other 4 witches surround Kaguri, preparing to finish her off. Kaguri blasts through the ceiling and lands on the bottom floor. Even with their combined strength, the 4 witches are no match for her. The witch holding Anoka panics and warns Kaguri, "Don't come any closer or I'll finish him." But Kaguri remains calm and tells Anoka, "Don't worry. I will burn them all to ashes." Desperate, the witch orders her summoned pet to bite Anoka, but before it can, Kaguri unleashes a massive flame, burning the witch. There's no bite mark on Anoka's neck. He is safe. However, the bite mark appears on Kaguri's neck instead. Somehow, the witch manages to escape. Anoka later wakes up in Kaguri's private room again. It's summer, yet Kaguri is wearing a scarf around her neck. Anoka finally asks, "Why are those witches after me? Why do they want to eliminate me?" Kaguri tries to avoid the question, but this time Anoka demands an answer. Seeing no other choice, Kaguri explains that there are 2 types of witches: workshop witches, who have existed for a long time to protect people and serve as a guardian force for the world, representing goodness, and tower witches who use magic for their own selfish desires and will do anything to get what they want. The tower witches are after Anoka because his body contains a white staff, something they desperately want, and to claim it they are willing to eliminate him. Hearing this, Anoka starts to worry. Two women meet at a coffee shop. One of them is Kazan, a workshop witch and the headmistress of the school. The other is Krunwar, a tower witch. Both have lived in this world for a long time. After 130 years, Kazan finally meets her old rival Krunwar. Krunwar informs Kazan that Medusa's students have now become her enemies and she wants to join forces with Kazan. Meanwhile, Anoka receives a call from Kaguri. She tells him to meet her, making him think it might be a date. Perhaps Kaguri wants to tell him something important. However, when they meet, Kaguri says nothing and instead takes him to a strange restaurant. Anoka, confused, asks questions about the place and Kaguri answers them. Soon a waitress approaches them. She seems to know both Kaguri and Anoka. Looking at Anoka, she asks, "Do you know the reality of Kaguri? She's quite popular among witches." Then, without warning, she freezes Anoka's ice cream so solid that it can't be eaten. This irritates Kaguri, who immediately takes Anoka and storms out of the restaurant. Later, they arrive at a shopping mall. Kaguri buys a ton of items and Anoka ends up carrying all of them. As he struggles under the weight, he sighs, thinking, "So that's why she called me to be her servant and carry her bags." As they walk, Anoka notices a little girl crying. She's lost her mother. Another girl approaches her and says, "Don't worry, I'll find your mom in no time." Anoka smiles at her kindness, imagining what would happen if Kaguri were in her place. That poor kid would probably get even more scared. Anoka decides to approach them, but suddenly the girl helping the lost child stares at him intensely. Then, to his shock, she pulls out a wanted poster. Anoka's face is on it. "Finally, I found you," she exclaims. Before Anoka can react, she throws the little girl aside and pulls out a massive claymore ready to strike. At the same time, two of her partners appear behind Kaguri and confront her. Kaguri wastes no time. She summons a massive tornado of fire to push them back. However, the girl with the claymore pulls out two pistols and starts firing at Anoka. Kaguri immediately shields him, taking the bullets herself. Anoka panics, worried for her, but Kaguri remains calm. "My cloak is bulletproof," she reassures him. Realizing she's out of ammo, the girl reaches for her claymore again, but Kaguri heats it up, making it too hot to touch. Then Kaguri unleashes a powerful explosion spell, forcing them to retreat. The witches quickly use hook guns to escape. They return the little girl to her mother. On the way back from shopping, Anoka tells Kaguri that everything happened because of him and asks her to seal him somehow. But Kaguri reassures him, saying, "No matter what, I will protect you, so don't worry." Anoka then asks Kaguri to teach him magic so he can become stronger and no longer feel like a burden. Touched by his words, Kaguri feels emotional. When they arrive at school, Kaguri reveals that the school is actually a workshop. She then introduces Anoka to her mother. Later, they attend their first magic lesson, where they are confronted by Tempopo's team. One of her teammates, Kanna, warns her that it's a bad idea. 5 of them combined are no match for Kaguri. However, Tempopo ignores her and charges at Kaguri with the others. With a single blast, Kaguri sends them flying, leaving Anoka more confused than ever. Back at school, Anoka opens his locker to find it filled with cursed letters and death threats. Kaguri reassures him, saying, "As long as I'm by your side, nothing bad will happen to you." In class, however, Anoka feels overwhelmed by the tense atmosphere. Kaguri sits much closer to him than usual, making things even more awkward. During a badminton match, she teaches him how to play by holding him, enraging her fan club. Later, Kaguri tells Anoka it's time for magic practice, but he refuses, saying he's not feeling well and wants to go home early. While sitting on the bus, Kaguri notices something unusual. A small holographic fly passes by and the station indicator changes to dead end. She soon realizes Krunwar is sitting in the back seat. Suddenly, Krunwar turns the bus into her domain. Kaguri tells Anoka to stay back as she prepares for battle, but before she can act, Krunwar freezes her with time magic and launches a powerful attack. However, it does no harm to Kaguri. Seeing this, Anoka steps in to defend her. Krunwar smirks and tells him there's no need, she couldn't harm Kaguri even if she tried. Then, without warning, she casually stabs Anoka in the belly. Anoka starts crying in pain, but Krunwar smirks and tells him not to act like a baby. Then, Anoka realizes his wound is gone, but instead, Kaguri starts bleeding from the same spot where he was stabbed. Krunwar explains that it's a magic transfer technique. She is contracted with you, drawing power from your white stuff, which makes her invincible. But as a side effect, she takes every wound you receive. That's why she protects you. She then brings out a magical orb and tells Anoka, if you want to save Kaguri, you must swallow this. She forcefully tries to feed it to him, but Kaguri suddenly gets up and pushes Krenwar back with her magic. Kaguri then tells Anoka that she must become something that she is not. She then unveils her true form, and the surroundings glow with a green aura. She has become a green angel, and she also summons a dragon. Realizing she is now outmatched, Krenwar quickly retreats.